right. Go ahead and sit comfortably in your seat. Not slouching, not leaning forward, just straight balanced if you can. Upright, your shoulders relaxed, your neck balanced on your shoulders and your head balanced on your neck. Spine balanced on your hips. You can let your feet rest on the floor and let your hands rest in your lap. To begin with, just start breathing normally. And we'll do it in reverse this time. Just pay attention to your breath. Feeling your belly rise as you breathe in and fall as you breathe out. You don't need to try and make your breath long or short. Just let it come however it wants to. Trust in your breath and your body that it's breathing the way you're supposed to be breathing. So breathing in, your belly rises, breathing out, and your belly falls. And now let's try ringing the bell. With each ring of the bell, take 3 deep breaths to reset. And then we'll see if that makes a difference in how you breathe afterwards. So breathe in and out. In and out. In and out. Now bring your attention back to your breath and just see if you notice any difference in it. If it's more relaxed or seems more stable, perhaps each breath is of a similar length as the one before it. Maybe it doesn't change your breathing at all. There's no right way for it to be. Either breathing before or after those 3 deep breaths to reset. But just be aware of it. And if you find it is helpful to you, that's one thing you can use. If you're feeling anxious or worried in a situation where you need a kind of mental reset, you can try those 3 deep breaths and see what that does for you. So we just continue to breathe in and breathe out. You may have noticed I meant to bring 2 bells today, but my little one, the high-pitched ring, is not here with me. So just got this larger, deep one. People sitting here got to see that it was a bigger bell. It was like the granddaddy of the little one. I wonder how much we would notice if we didn't have that visual reminder that it's a different one. Sound is another one of those things we take for granted. I was thinking about that as I packed up this bigger bell to bring. So often we suggest, especially if you're anxious, to focus on the breath, to bring your attention on what you see in front of you. 3 things that you see, or the color of the table in front of you. I knew someone years ago who was in St. Paul in a neighborhood they didn't know, and they'd gone to a AA meeting, I think it was. And they came out and there was no bus there, and they realized they were lost. They didn't know where to go to catch the bus. Unfortunately, they saw a phone booth ahead of them. They went there and called their AA sponsor and explained the situation to them. And the first thing their sponsor asked her was, well, what street are you on? Can you tell me what the street sign on the corner where you're standing right now? And she told her. And she said, and what's the building across the street from you? What color is that? She told her that. And she asked if there were people walking by and to describe some of them. And her worry started to lessen because she thought, oh, she's getting the instructions or the description so she can come and get me and bring me home. And the sponsor said, well, I can't do that. I don't have my car right now, but I wanted you to, first of all, begin to pay attention to what's around you so you can calm down a little bit. And then you can put together a plan to figure out how to get yourself home. And that's often something that's given as a technique. What you see, what you smell. Most often, I think it's what you see. And so often we don't give enough attention to what we hear, which is unfortunate. There's a reason in Buddhist meditation temples they have so many different bells and clackers and drums. And there's a reason there's so much of sound in a Catholic Mass. The way the priest changes his voice as he chants, the choir singing. Sound is such an important sense, and we don't give it enough credit. We take it for granted. Although if you have a ear infection and you can't hear, or you get to a certain age or have something medical happening to you that you begin to lose your hearing, you realize what a treasure the things you can hear are. You even miss the things that you might think were annoying. We talk so often about you might hear the sound outside in the room outside or the hall outside the room here, the children running down the stairs from the daycare. And how we all enjoy that. It's such a joyful sound. Such great energy they have. They're so excited and so happy. And I always feel for a moment, oh, but people that might be listening to this in a recording, who knows if they'll feel that same way or if it will be disruptive to them. And there are reasons to go to a place where it's quiet to do this practice. But if the whole point is to be able to just be with whatever is happening, shouldn't whatever you're hearing be included in that? And if you do it that way, that becomes one more tool in your toolbox if you need to bring your attention back to this present moment, to stop and notice what sounds there are. Because to listen, we really seem to need to stop. There's a poem I like to read to groups like this that is an example of someone being lost in the woods. And they talk about what's really being mindful about if you wanted to hear or you heard a strange sound, wouldn't you need to be quiet and stop and listen to know what it was? Because that might be the thing that can lead you out of where you are. So that's true if you're depressed or worried or anxious. So we have that image of people going to a lake up north or a cabin where they can't hear anything. They don't want to be near city streets. They don't want to be near sounds. The place I like to sit is right behind the railroad track. And I hear that sound, that rhythmic sound of the train. And at first I found it disruptive, but now I've come to really enjoy it, to really listen to it. And if I'm lucky, it may blow its horn as it's coming up out of the town nearby. And there's just something about that sound. I think just like with smells, that they can take us back to another time in our lives. They're so tied into the deepest parts of our brain. We may smell ham and baked beans, and we think of going to our grandmother's on a Sunday when she'd have made homemade baked beans and had a ham cookie in the oven. And just one breath and you're back there. And sounds can be the same way too. That train whistle makes me think of being 6 or 7 in my bed. There wasn't a train track nearby, but there was one far enough, or close enough, but far enough that I could just hear that sound, and it really was a touching sound. It sounded so lonesome, but it also made me feel like I wasn't alone. I knew there was that train out there with an engineer, and perhaps it was a passenger train. And it seemed to be like it was calling to me. And so many of these sounds do call to us. As I say, we take it for granted. An interesting mindfulness exercise is to take a piece of music that you really like. I suggest an instrumental piece of music just because words add a whole new level of things. But you can do it with a short rock and roll song if you want to, just as much as with a Beethoven symphony. But to give your attention to it like you do your breath or your thoughts when you're doing mindfulness. To not be waiting for it to be over, to just let that sound move around you, kind of move through you. At those times you become aware of how music really can carry emotions. A short piece of piano music can give us a whole range of emotions without even a single word in it. And it's just the same, I think, oftentimes, as it is with our breath. We just get lost in thought. We put on a piece of music we want to listen to, and suddenly we are not paying any attention to it. So I suggest trying to pay attention. Give your full attention to it and see it through to the end. Because yes, even a lovely piece of music we can just begin to ignore. We've kind of taken some of the magic out of music. Now we can have it with us at all times with our phone. We put it on when we're driving and we don't really even listen to it. It's just a distraction in the background. So try listening when you don't need to do anything else. As I say, stopping can be such a key before listening. One other thing you can do is use a sound as a reminder. The mindfulness teacher Thich Nhat Hanh suggests when a phone rings, you take 3 deep breaths before answering it. We're so caught up in looking for our phone immediately that we have to answer it, that we don't pause to just prepare ourselves for the person on the other end of the line. It can bring you into mindfulness. It can bring you into a closer connection with the person calling you. And again, why this is the opinion of someone who grew up with a house phone, when before there were voice answering machines, caller ID, where you really did have to answer the phone, because if you didn't, you'd have no idea who it was that had called you. And now we get as hysterical as we used to as kids, or our parents would when we were little. When we've got voicemail, we've got caller ID. You don't need to grab that phone immediately and answer it. At that first ring, take 3 breaths to settle yourself. And then connect and be ready. Or it doesn't have to be a call that you're going to respond to. It can be you get yourself accustomed to, if you live somewhere where there's a train, or you hear a boat whistle, that you stop again and let that bring you back to this present moment. Just fully listen to it and give it your attention. And as a little experiment here, I brought this large bell called a singing bowl. As you hear, it has a much louder, deeper sound. There's something that I think draws us into that sound. I always find it so interesting the way the tone changes. You can still hear it humming. Sound continues. It somehow seems respectful to give your attention to that bell, to listen to it to the end of its ringing, like being sure you listen to what it has to say. Now, this one is interesting too. You can get this same effect with a wine glass and have it even just filled with water, and dip your finger in the water and circle that edge at the top and hear that bell sing. And there are places where people have instruments and glasses filled with differing amounts of water, and they can play music on there. There was something called a glass harmonica. It was actually like a piano, but you rubbed discs that were turning. You rubbed bowls to play music. And it's eerie. Makes you think maybe this is the kind of music angels play. So this singing bowl is large, 12 inches across, and it's meant to do the same thing. Start slowly, and you begin to hear it. Piece of wood slipped off of there. You begin to hear a faint ringing. You may hear it with a low volume, continuous humming. I'm going to strike it because sometimes that helps to bring that more to the volume where people can hear it. Sometimes I'll use that just as a way to connect to this moment, to slow down, actually like a kind of meditation, to just listen to it. There are people who do healings, connect these sounds to different parts of their bodies. And that's another way you can become aware, is just notice where sounds, reverberate in you. Do you feel it in your heart? Do you feel it in your head? Or is it like being at a loud rock and roll concert or at a parade, and the big bass drums go by and you feel that sound in your belly as though it's rocking and rattling your whole belly? So that's a way to connect yourself to this moment in the same way we do with the breath, to feel it in the body. This hearing sound is again a function of the body, not so much just the mind. We hear those sounds and they enter us. In a way, if we pay attention, we can enter them and become part of them. So experiment with that this week. Maybe even pick a sound that's annoying to you. If you have a freeway nearby and you hear that sound of the window, through the window of that slapping sound, or it's a hum like the singing bowl is, but it's different. Or soon we'll be in the time of year where there'll be the hills filled with crickets around here. Listen to them as though they're a choir. Just notice how beautiful that sound is. I always wonder why it is that one cricket in the corner of the bedroom can keep you up and drive you to distraction all night long if you can't find it. When a whole valley is singing with the crickets, it's the most beautiful thing you can hear. So that gives you a chance to explore what you find pleasing and what you find disruptive. So experiment with that this week. Use it like you would your breath. You give this bell one more ring. Listen to the sound continue. You take a few final deep breaths to end this period.